So, why are we celebrating Pancake Tuesday? Well, as with many church traditions, it goes back a long ways, probably to about the 4th century, not long after Christianity became established as the official religion of the Roman Empire. With the establishment of the church came the adoption of various practices as ways of helping people understand their faith better and to deepen their faith. And so part of that was the development of the church year. So just as we have our calendar year of spring, summer, autumn, winter, there was the church year, beginning with Advent, the 4 weeks before Christmas as the preparation for the birth of Christ, then the 12 days of Christmas, followed by the season of Epiphany. The word Epiphany means manifestation, where Jesus was revealed to his followers as the Son of God. And then you have the season of Lent, the 6 weeks before Easter, then the celebration of the resurrection on Easter Sunday, and the season of Easter for the 7 weeks following, ending in the Feast of Pentecost, and then the time after the church, or the season of Pentecost. And thus you had your church year. So in the middle of this, we have Lent. The word Lent comes from an Old English word meaning to lengthen, because of course in England at this time of year, the days are getting longer as the spring approaches. And so there were many practices adopted in Lent, and there were the traditional Lenten disciplines of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. Prayer is self-explanatory, so in Lent one might attend more worship services and perhaps spend more time in personal devotion as a way of deepening one's faith. And then fasting is a very common practice in many religions. And so this was, we've heard about it throughout the Old Testament as well as the New. And so just as Jesus fasted for 40 days in the desert, the early Christians felt it would be good for Christians to do the same by fasting. Now, of course, the fasting wouldn't be refraining from all foods, because people had to work, they had their farms, they had to take care of children. And so it was more a fasting of rich foods such as meat, eggs, and dairy. And then part of this also was to be in solidarity with the poor, because not all people can eat whatever they want, whenever they want. And then the third discipline would lead to the third discipline of almsgiving, giving more money to the poor or food to the poor at this time of sharing. And so that's how we had Lent and the practices of prayer, fasting, and almsgiving. And so this fasting, and it wouldn't be from all foods, because of course you still had to work, you had to run your farm or take care of children, or perhaps work on your trade. So the fasting was of rich foods, meat, eggs, and dairy. And throughout Europe it developed different traditions. So in England the practice was to have this Pancake Tuesday, for what better way to use up all your eggs and your butter and your milk or cream than to make pancakes. In Germany and Austria, in Poland, I believe they have donuts. In France, they called it Mardi Gras, which meant Fat Tuesday, where you'd have a big meal and a big party, often a costume party, to celebrate the last blowout before the privations of Lent. And also in Italy, Venice was renowned for its Mardi Gras, for its carnival. Carnival comes from the Latin word carnevale, farewell to meat. So all these different countries had their traditions of celebrating to the max on the Tuesday and then being prepared for the Wednesday and then the 6 weeks of Lent. Now, Pancake Tuesday is actually called Shrove Tuesday, from the Old English to be shriven, because you were shriven of your sins, because part of the Tuesday included going to church and seeing the priest and confessing all your sins so that you could start Lent unfettered and unburdened. And then you'd come home and have a lovely meal of pancakes. And in England, there's all kinds of traditions around the pancakes, including pancake races and a lovely pancake dish called a beenot, which is a crust. And then you put all these pancakes, lovely crisp pancakes with some lemon and orange flavoring, and then put a lid on it, and then you bake it in the oven, and you cut it up as a very special pancake pie. So there are many traditions throughout the countries of how to celebrate the joys of life and then prepare oneself for the 6 weeks of preparation and contemplation of Lent. Enjoy your pancakes, and we will certainly enjoy seeing each other again when Easter comes anew. Bon appetit! Happy munching! Pancake Video 101. So, we've been asked to create pancake videos of our at-home pancake suppers for Shrove Tuesday. As a lead up to that, I'm going to experiment with a couple of different pancakes to decide which one it will be. Today's is known as a very large blueberry pancake. What attracted me to this recipe was the complaint that somebody made that the problem when you do pancakes is one person is cooking, then they either go in the oven to stay warm and then everybody eats them together, or the other people get them fresh off the griddle while the cook keeps cooking. This recipe, you cook the whole pancake as one and then cut it up. Never done this before? We'll see how it is. This is a Wally-friendly recipe. It uses soy milk and has no eggs. And instead of doing a pan on the stove, I'm going to use an electric frying pan. I have discovered that electric frying pans are much better at regulating the heat, even for individual pancakes, because they form more of a griddle as opposed to the gas under the frying pan. So let's proceed. So there it is in the frying pan, the electric frying pan. I'm starting at 350 because that's my usual starting temperature, and then I'll turn it down to 300 and let it cook gently for 10 minutes. Let's see how it turns out. So there it is flipped over. We're just letting it warm a little bit on the top side. And then we'll put it on a plate and serve it up. And the test will be in the tasting. Okay, this is experiment number 3. It's almost the same recipe as experiment number 2 last week. Basically, it's a whole wheat kind of a thing, but I've also added some whole grain oats for interest. And it's got yogurt and lemon zest. And we've got the first batch in the frying pan. As I've said before, the electric frying pan gives you nice, even heat. So here we go with the flip. Oh, now isn't that a perfect pancake? Okay, here we go again. All right. Looks like third one is the charm. Okay, here they are. Lovely blueberry sauce on top of these lovely pancakes. Dig in, Mano. Okay. We need to see your face. Have we got it right this time?
I'm sure we have. Very good.
Okay. And let's see Ms. St. Marie here. The pancake queen.
Very delicious.
Very delicious. Okay, so they're a keeper.
Fantastic.
All right. We'll have these on Shrove Tuesday. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Enjoy your pancakes.
Have a great day.
Welcome to Shrove Tuesday, also known as Pancake Tuesday or Mardi Gras, or as well as lots of different names around the world. So it's the day before Ash Wednesday in the Christian calendar, the day that celebrates the beginning of Lent. So Lent is typically a time when people give up things, so this is a time to indulge in all of those things before you give it up in the time leading up to Easter. There's many different traditions for Christians all around the world, and for countries all around the world at this time of the year. And as a third-generation Canadian, I chose to go with a tradition that I've never actually done before, so this is a first, but I want to do something a little different, and go with a tradition from the country where my great-grandparents were born. So at the time it was then known as Czechoslovakia. It is now the Czech Republic. And this is a little donut called, and I really apologize for the pronunciation, I'm getting better. My Czech is getting better, my Czech pronunciation is getting better, but it's still kind of Koblihy, I believe is how it's pronounced. The word is, putting the word right down below, right there. That's how it's spelled. Koblihy, I believe is how it's pronounced, but I could be wrong. So it looks like, in my understanding, it's a typical jelly-filled donut. Can also be filled with chocolate or other fillings. I am going to use jam. I don't have something that I can insert it with, so I'm going to make it as I see in the recipe, where I put the jam in and then fry it with the dough over top of it. So that's what I'm going to do. So this should be interesting. I hope you all enjoy it, and happy Shrove Tuesday. So from my research, I've noticed they also kind of do a little festival, something that reminded me a lot of the celebrations in Brazil, the celebrations specifically in New Orleans, just type of a very much a carnival, dress up, enjoy life type of attitude. So that's kind of where these donuts, they're also carnival donuts. Czech carnival donuts is what they're also named, known as. So yeah, this should be, I'm super, super, super excited to do this. And this was not a tradition in my house. So this is something that's completely new to me. Apparently my great-grandmother did make them at home. So I did get a little bit of information from my aunt and grandmother, but yeah, it's a completely first for me. So I'm kind of excited to walk you through this and to kind of share this with you and share this experience with you. Hope you enjoy.
Okay, so I made the dough and it looks like it doubled in size. So now I am going to roll and cut it out, I believe it said, and possibly fill it. And then let it rise again, and then we're going to fry them. Okay, I'm excited. So now I am rolling and cutting them up. I was mistaken, you did have to let it rise twice before you rolled and cut it out. So one thing I'm noticing with this dough is it is super, super soft. It's definitely not as, hard's the wrong word, but here you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see as well, how soft that dough is compared to most doughs. So it's definitely a little more interesting to roll out, but it still works, and you know what, it doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, so there's the jam that I put on top, and I'm gonna put other circles on top, and then pinch it, close it, and fry it. And I've got my oil heating up right now. So, it should be interesting. So I think not too bad for my first attempt, as you can see with these two. My fryer oil was a little too hot initially. So you can see these are a little more golden, nicely colored. I would have next time pinched them also a little tighter, because you can see it's kind of starting to open on the side, so I probably would have pinched them a little bit more. but all in all, not too bad, I think, at least looking wise. And then obviously dust them with icing sugar. Very messy. They're still a little warm, that's why my fingerprint just made a mess in the icing sugar right there. But yeah, dust them with icing sugar, and then we'll give them a try. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, here we go. That is really good. I probably should have cooked it for a little bit longer. Not as long and not as hot as these ones, obviously. But I will break into this. Although, actually, you know what? These ones, while they may not look as appetizing, are actually much better. Much, much better. There you go. Some jam in the middle. I take back what I said earlier. This is actually what you're going for. These ones I didn't fry long enough or at a hot enough temperature. But these ones are actually, despite what they look like, they're really good. So I did forget to mention, I did, before I fried it, I did let the dough rise for a little bit longer as well after I'd cut it out. So you do let it rise for a third time after cutting it out and shaping it and forming it before you fry it. Also, this recipe that I used did call for wine. I used 2 to 3 tablespoons. I have the recipe, so I used about 1.5 tablespoons of white wine. You can use, I did find a recipe for it with tea instead of wine, but I figured, you know, the whole thing is a celebration. I might as well try it with the wine. So that's what I did. But definitely, as I said, I've seen some recipes with tea instead, and my grandma did seem surprised when I told her about the wine. So I don't know if that's just some random recipe that I found that uses wine, or if that is the common thing, but you know, in the spirit of celebration, eat, drink, and be merry.
So I just wanted to quickly add, since making these, I did speak with my grandmother, and when I described my first batch to her, she did say that that was how her mother made them. So, because I kind of described, they're kind of hard on the outside and crispy on the outside and really, really soft on the inside. And that's exactly what she said that they tasted like. So, you know, whether it's the right way or the best way, or it's just how my great grandmother did it, I don't know. But it definitely tasted well, actually. I was worried that it would taste burnt, and it didn't taste burnt. So there you go. Take with that information what you will.